Hi, thank you for joining me today. I'm John Oldham, founder of SwitchSafe. I was a top producer at Thrivent, New York Life, and MetLife prior to becoming an independent advisor about 10 years ago. I created this software to fill my need in the field, and now I'm sharing this with you. I want your firm to experience huge growth in 2018, but that doesn't happen doing the same old thing the same old way. During these next 5 minutes, I'm going to share with you a process that has helped me sell millions of dollars worth of annuities, mutual funds, and fee-based accounts year after year. It's a process that can easily be used by brand new reps to top producing veterans in the field. Let's dive in. The first step to huge growth is to change your thinking. No huge growth can happen doing the same old thing the same old way. There have been so many books written on the subject, but a couple of my favorites are the Blue Ocean Strategy and the Blue Ocean Shift. If you're not familiar with the concept, here's what it means. The Red Ocean is full of blood. The war is fought between the competitors in those waters. It's a brutal world. Sound familiar to anyone in the financial services industry? However, the Blue Ocean is full of clean water and no blood. Those waters have very little competition and are dominated by firms doing things a different way. Think of Uber, Amazon, Airbnb. The Blue Ocean Shift has specific case studies of businesses adopting strategies and seeing huge results. I'd encourage you to check them out. Step 2 is you need to have a story. Stories are what creates bonds and memories. People have a hard time remembering facts, but they remember emotions, and emotions are created through stories. My top story for 2018, and feel free to share this, is after a run like this in the stock market, and now some recent volatility, do you need a plan to deal with it? Clearly, this run isn't going to continue forever. What are you going to do about it? Almost everybody has financial stuff, but nobody has a plan. Here at SwitchSafe, we call this process flipping the switch. If you can effectively flip the switch in a prospect's mind, you're well on your way to winning huge amounts of new business. However, flipping the switch must happen early on in the sales process. People make the decision whether they're going to do business with you on the first meeting, and it is hardly ever about specific products. It's about demonstrating knowledge and ability to solve their problem, and this problem they identify in their own mind through your story. Our AUM process has been used to gain hundreds of millions of dollars in new business. Here's what it's about. First, you need to add value. We do this by going through their financial stuff for them. We offer to pull up the facts of each of those pieces of stuff and show them what they really are like under the hood. From there, you help to create understanding of the true expenses of the products and how they work. Our database has over 40,000 products that come up at a click of a button. If you can do a quick Google type search, you can use our system. As you can see, it has variable annuities, index annuities, mutual funds, ETFs, and alternative investments, all in one database, all easily compared to one another. There is no other database like this on earth. From there, once the prospect understands their stuff a little better, it's time for you to work your magic. You use your talents to make a compelling case for your services. It is really that simple, and all this happens within 10 to 15 minutes on the first meeting. At this point, the clients can make a reasonable decision on whether you are a solution to the problem they created for themselves in their mind. No more dragging out a series of meetings only to find out in the end that there was no way they were going to do business with you anyway. Some are going to say yes, some will say no, but this process eliminates a lot of wasted time and meaningless case prep only to find out that there was no way they were going to do business with you anyway. Flip their switch on the first meeting and you are golden. But you can only do this if you have the data you need at your fingertips. You can't get buy-in like this if you have to go back to your office and send off a request to the home office to get an analysis done for you. If you have to take all their financial stuff back to the office to get them some basic answers to the problem that they have created in their minds, you lose all momentum. This is where SwitchSafe comes in. 40,000 products information and a direct link to the prospectus at your fingertips. And our product list goes back to old products that were issued up to 20 years ago. So you take the time and pull up a couple of their pieces of their financial stuff in the system. You're able to show them the quick down and dirty facts about the product and all the expenses and fees that are buried in the product. Say for instance you pull up one of their mutual funds and a variable annuity that they purchased 7 years ago. You ask Mr. Jones, "Hey, Mr. Jones, that variable annuity that you bought from Jackson, how much do they charge you to manage that each year?" Of course, the client never knows those type of answers. "I don't know, John. I don't see them taking out of my statement ever. I think it's about 1% a year or something." "Well, that could be Mr. Jones. Let's pull up here and take a quick look." You type in the name of the product into the system, you run the comparison. Well, Mr. Jones, in this product there are several fees, and you go down the list. It looks like you're paying somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 or 4% per year with all your riders. You should literally see the looks on their faces. So seeing as you have $500,000 in that annuity, you're paying somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000 a year in fees just in that product. You don't need to say anything more. Just let it ride. You have shown them how they work under the hood and the costs associated with them. So here's where you really flip the switch in most cases. Keep in mind the clients already think of how much more they're paying than they thought they were. The advisor world has done a great job of educating people that 1% is a typical fee, and now he just learned that he has 4 times that amount. Mr. Jones, what do you think the stock market averages over the long haul? Let them answer. Make them answer the question. As long as they don't give you some crazy number, just go with it. Most of the time they're going to say something like 8 or 10%. 8% or so, I think, John. That's about right, Mr. Jones. But if the markets are going to average about 8% per year, and you're taking 4% of that out in fees to have the account manages, what type of net real return are you going to have after costs in your account? They do the basic math. Maybe 4% or so. Well, quite possibly, Mr. Jones. You have your principal at risk, you have a serious number of fees coming out of your portfolio that could potentially eat up to half of the gains of the market. Would you be open to seeing how we do business? That answer is almost always going to be yes. But to get to this point, you need to have a couple of things. First, you need to have a story. You need to get them thinking about what's going on in the markets in the path that they've been on to this point. And second, you need that data at your fingertips. If you have a good story and amazing data, you can have true amazing growth. Then once you have done the business, you need a system to document things appropriately so that in the future, you don't end up dealing with a crazy regulatory system that's going through changes. We're seeing many headlines, and SwitchSafe has developed a documentation system that keeps things documented to deal with the DOL and or whatever standard the SEC or states come up with if DOL is fully overturned. So there's 5 minutes for huge growth in 2018. If you'd like to see this process in action, simply click on the next attachment and there will be another 5 minutes taking you through this process with Mr. Jones using our actual system so you can see how the data works and the case is documented. I'll talk with you again in a minute.